Hello learners, welcome to the series of lectures on Python programming. In the last video, we already learned about the concept of inheritance. And in this video, we are going to use one more concept that is called types of inheritance. In this, we already used that single inheritance, okay, in the previous video. So in this video, we are going to learn about the multi-level inheritance, okay. So when I say inheritance, now we can define the inheritance as like acquiring the property of already existing class in the subclass or new class, right? So that's the definition. When I say this multi-level inheritance, okay, by seeing this picture, you can understand that. So we have one superclass or a parent class. Now this for one parent class. Now we have so it is named as A, right? So A parent class. Now in this class we have one more class B, which is going to acquire the properties of class, okay, A class. Okay, so we have subclass one. So in the same way, now we have one more class which is also going to acquire the property of subclass 1. Okay, that means for subclass 2, the parent is subclass 1. For subclass 1, the parent is A class or superclass. This is the parent class. Now this is the normal definition of your multi-level inheritance. Okay, so we have more than two classes, and each class is going to acquire the properties of its successive class. Okay, so for example, in the class A, we have the method X. Okay, so we have one method X. In the B class, we have the method Y. That means when the class this B class going to acquire the properties of A, now all the properties of A will be transferred to the B class. That means B class can access the properties of A, that is method X, right? So in the same way, when I create one more subclass, okay, which is uh, C, okay, which is going to access the properties of B, right? So that means now this subclass 2 can access both the properties of B class as well as A class. Okay, so now this is the normal definition of your multi-level inheritances. Okay, let us understand this concept with the help of one example. Okay, so I already read this example. So in this example, we have a parent class, a shape class, and we have the one method, say area method. So for example, in this case, when I say shape, so I cannot calculate the area because without knowing the exact shape, I cannot calculate the area, right? So that's why I'm just use a rise command to raise the error when I call the method of this shape class area. Okay, just because without knowing the shape, I cannot access the area, right? So now I want to redefine, or I can say redefine the properties of area in my subclass. So that I'm going to create one more class, say rectangle class, which is going to acquire the properties of this shape class. Now, what is the property? Area function, right? So for a rectangle, when I say the rectangle, so now I know the area of the rectangle, it's length into width or length into width. So for taking two input, so I'm going to initialize the constructor. So with the help of define init function, okay, we are taking two inputs, length and width. So and also initialize the variables, okay, of the rectangle class. Now when I say this area, I know this to multiply length and breadth. So I'm going to use the print statement to display the area of a rectangle. In the same way, we have one more class, say square. So when I say square, it's a special type of a rectangle where we have both the sides are equal. Correct? So for example, for this case, I'm going to use a square class, which is going to acquire the property of rectangle class. That means in the rectangle class, we have the area function. Okay, so I can use the same thing here. So, but when I use the constructor, I need only one parameter, right? So that's a single side is enough because in the square, all the sides are equal, right? So I need only one side. So I'm going to take one input side, and this side will be passed two times, okay, to the constructor of rectangle class. Okay, so when you inherit any one class from the another class, you have to pass, if the constructor is present in your parent class, you have to pass the value to the constructor, right? So we already seen in the previous class. So for that reason, I'm going to pass the super double underscore init side comma side. That means the length is also equal and width also equal. They both get the property. Okay, they get the single value of that is side. Okay, right. When I say define area, so I can use the print statement, say self dot length double star 2. That means I'm going to square the length into length square. So I'm going to use this command. Right. So while creating the object of rectangle class, so I'm going to use rectangle. I need two arguments, length and width. So I can pass 3, 4. In the same way, when I create the object of square class, I want to use a single argument as a side. So I'm going to take 4. Okay, so we'll get answer 12, and here we'll get the answer 16. Right? Just we'll run and see the result. Okay, so we'll get the area of a rectangle is 12, and area of the just a miss. So I have to here I just have to change to the square. Okay. Okay, now we got the correct answer. Square is 16. Right. So now this is the one use case of multi-level inheritance. So we have the base class shape, and that's acquiring the these properties are acquired by the rectangle class. Okay, because rectangle is also one type of shape. In the same way, when I say square, it's a one type of rectangle when with all the sides are equal, right? So again, we are acquiring the properties of the parent class, okay, in the shape class. Okay. Now for the square class, now rectangle is the parent. For rectangle, the shape is the parent class. So now this is the how we can understand the multi-level inheritance. Right. So hope you understand this lecture. For further updates, please subscribe to the channel.